So I get that question all the time now. What's going on with the gray car? Where's the ZR1? What's going on with the ZR1? Well, let me show you what's going on with the ZR1. Yeah, that's the real deal. And it's not even Halloween. How you like that, huh? Well, like my last video about that car, as I mentioned, it's suffered an untimely demise at the hands of an exhaust valve. It decided to exit stage left a little prematurely. I mean, the truth of the matter is, it's been a lot of other things happening in the time that this car's been down. I mean, this thing took a lot of time. It took a lot of time, took a lot of effort. Just every waking minute I spent in the shop, I seemed to be doing something to this thing. And, as a result, some of the other cars got kind of pushed off the wayside. And, I decided once this thing took the last bow that, it was time to start spending my time on some other projects and go ahead and put that one off. And matter of fact, one of the projects is this turkey right here. But actually, a few things happened. Let me try to run it down for you here. What's been going on in the chicken farm over the last, I don't know, year or something like that. Actually, it's not been a year. July is when the car went down. We're only in March, so it's been what, 8 months, something like that. But in the meantime, well, it's start off with the black Trans Am. Well, that thing's had an engine in and out of it. I don't know how many times. It's over there in the house garage, so you're not going to see it right now. But yeah, that thing's gone through hell and back. Actually, well, the engine was there. I'm currently using that aluminum block as a mock-up on on this guy right here, and I will talk about this one in a minute. It's actually the motor that was in that black Trans Am. This thing has been in and out. Let me tell you a little story about that one. That car ran, like a champ for years and years. I'm talking 6-7 years without touching anything, and it just ran and ran and ran, and she beat the hell out of it and just hit it with nitrous a few times, and the thing just never even coughed. And as a result, I decided let's go ahead and treat it to a refreshing, a rejuvenating session. New cam, new valve springs, stuff that really I probably should have done a long time ago. Lifters, all the good stuff. That was I think that was December 22. Yeah, and the car never left the shop again. I ended up having all kinds of issues with this motor. And ever since I got it back together, it's just been one issue after the other, with oiling, lack of pressure, wiped out bearings, all kinds of stuff. I ended up kind of sort of giving up on it. Not really giving up, but let's just say we went in a different direction. I had a 6-liter work truck engine that we decided to, I had picked up from work, and I decided to go ahead and, for the sake of getting this thing running again, I went ahead and threw that in there. And so yeah, it's got an iron 6-liter in it now. It used to reside over here, but it's got an engine in there now. I put the same heads back on it, put the same high ram back on it, and sure enough, I got those issues settled, and the car, it runs good now. So I've got it all. I did a bunch of other stuff to it too while it was down. We did a whole new front end suspension, all new UMI, upper, lower control arms. K-member, torque arm, support, the whole spiel really. New brakes in the front end of that car too. So did a whole bunch of stuff to the black Trans Am, and it is now up and running with an iron 6-liter. The idea there, though, is we're going to get, even though it gained some weight, got a little chunky over COVID, but we've got that guy. See that guy right there? See that guy hiding right there? Yes, sir. Courtesy of the good folks at Pro Charger. I'm going to be going ahead and putting a nice little blower kit, the C6 based blower kit I'm going to be using on that car. And so yeah, it's going to be a little bit, it'll be a little bit quicker, a little bit more fun. Still in Turbo 400, still everything else is the same in it, but I did a bunch of wiring changes too, made a whole new harness for it, got rid of the factory harness. And so I put some time and effort into it. Like I said, it was long overdue. And yeah, that car should be hitting the streets here real soon. And hopefully later this year I'll get that blower kit on, and we'll really get to have some fun, take some videos with it. Then I shifted over to this bastard right here. This guy's is nothing but a bone stock LS2, stock sealed, if you remember those days, stock sealed LS2 with a ECS kit dating from just before the birth of Christ. So it really, that's how I bought the car. It's a real simple setup. It wasn't a blindingly fast car, but it was a fun car. It was a fun car, and we've had the car for a couple years now. Some friends of ours, of mine, owned it for years and years and years and years before, which is why I knew the car, which is why we bought the car. And, it's been a fun little car. I decided when everything was said and done to go ahead and give the good folks over at Team Tick in the house. See hiding down there, the box, Team Tick. Yep. Ordered up the Lyme disease package from Tick and did a heads and cam job on this thing. Actually, we took the same heads that came off of that 6-liter truck motor that ended up in her Trans Am. Did come with a pair of, what are they, 823s, I think, right? The 823s, the rec port heads. This thing being an LS2, of course, came with 243s. So I decided at the last minute, what the hell, throw some, stock, unported, untouched, 823s, valve springs, did that usual stuff there. Just had a machine clean, flattened and stuff, and threw it in there. And along with a Tick Sentry Cam, some other updates, got a brand new, I'll show you guys here. This is a brand new A&A blower drive kit, this whole thing right here, the blower drive. It's a dedicated drive. I think they call it a flip drive or something like that. But the old setup, the old ECS setup was one giant 8-rib that was like 62 feet long. And it just wrapped around and around and around. One belt drove everything. Now we've got a dedicated drive. So this thing has its own blower belt. Then there's a dedicated jack drive belt, which drives the alternator and the power steering. So they got their own stuff over there. And yeah, it's a hell of a kit from A&A. Big thanks to Josh and the guys over there for helping me out with that. And yeah, it's on the car. Big thanks to Tom, buddy, Century Jesus, come on down, help me put it all together. And it's been up and running for a little bit here with the new setup on it. Got a new fuel system, made all new lines, put a pair of 340s in the tank, got rid of the old, it had it old, I mean, I tell you old, baby, I'm talking, it had a Harriet Tubman era auxiliary fuel system in it. So it's got the 340s that are in the tank, new lines, new regulator hidden on that side over there. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Stock LS3 intake, stock throttle body, and that kind of stuff. Nothing fancy, but definitely is going to help motivate the car a little bit more. Finished that up. It's been a few months, but ran into a couple silly little snags. Right now I'm having one. You can see I've got all this crap over here taken apart because I can't get the, I did some testing on it yesterday. I was having issues, first of all, the car would break up. I'll try to get into boost. The wires that were in this thing were just really old and cracked and stuff, and I was having arcing issues. So this is a weird deal. So K-Tech valve covers, right? These are K-Tech valve covers. If you guys have these, or if you know of anybody's going to get a set of K-Tech valve covers, they're really cool. Came on the car. But they are taller, and they relocate your coils up north here. And so you end up having to need something like a 14-inch or something like that, a 13-inch wire. It's a very specific wire size. I thought in the back of my head that they would be the same as truck wires. So I went ahead and ordered a set of truck wires, tried to put them on. They were just too short. Nobody really had. K-Tech sells a set of plugs, but of course, or wires. But, being K-Tech, they were like $14,000. So I opted to look around. I found a plug wire on Summit that looked longer, and it had the plug ends to match on both sides. What it ended up being are 6.2 Raptor wires. The good news, they fit. The less than good news, they are long enough that you can actually jump rope them. These things could probably wrap around my head a few times. I just gained like 6 pounds of wire. But you know what, for the time being, it works. So I'm not going to freak out about it. It works. I'll stay with it for now. And then eventually I'll have to probably just buy a different wire. I think Fire Core will make you a set of a given size, so I might just bite the bullet and do that. But like I said, it works. It works. I finally got that figured out. Took the car out, made a hit, clean pass, didn't break up on me. But I was running out of fuel, which is weird because twin 340s, it's a -6 PTFE forward and back, which I know a lot of people are gonna say is too small. It's not true at all. It might sound small, but a -6 PTFE should feed around about 1,000 on ethanol, and this thing doesn't make anywhere near that. So I think I've got an issue with the trigger system. I mean, this being an old E38 stock computer garbage, I don't have a way of driving a secondary pump. I've got to use a I don't know if you can see. You can't even see. It's too dark in there. I've got the Apollo era hob switch. So I think it might not be working, so I've just got the connector there. I'm gonna do some testing, jump it manually out there and force it on and see if that's the issue. But anyways, point is, here it is. It's up, it's running, it's alive. We'll work the kinks out. And so I spent a little bit of time on that, obviously. And then the car that used to reside here for a very, very long time. In fact, I'll tell you that would be this guy. That car, what's the date? 9/12. So September 12th, 2020. That's when this shop was built. So when I officially moved into the shop and moved the tools in, Jenny went ahead and scripted that on the fridge there. That was the last time this car moved under its own power. Drove it in. This thing had been beaten for a while. That 4.8 was, pushing water and all that kind of stuff. And I parked it over there, and with the intention, of course, of getting back to it, but ZR1 just took over, heads and the cam and the blower and the this and the that and everything surrounding that car just took over, took my time, and I never got back to this thing. So for the better part of 3.5 years, it sat, it just collected dust and kind of rotting over there and kind of killed me. But this is the one thing that I definitely wanted to get back to. I told myself one of two things: I'm either gonna sell it. If I go back to working on this thing right away, this thing gets sold because I'm never gonna touch it, or I take the time to put into this car, get this thing back up running the way I want it to, then I can go ahead and get back to that guy. That's why when everybody asks me what's the story with the ZR1 and when you're going to see it and all that stuff, I'm thinking next year. I did go ahead and buddy of mine, Gap got himself, was able to acquire me an LS9 here. It's a stock LS9, came out of another car, low miles. Apparently this thing had swallowed a bolt. It actually happened at the dealership, long story, but they did something to the supercharger. I don't know what happened. It swallowed a bolt and nicked up a few pistons and nicked up the heads and stuff, and that became a whole big deal. The engine was left behind, and so yeah, I was able to get my hands on it. Thankfully, the damage is relatively contained to a small area. So the plan is to take this LS9, take that LS9, and I'm going to Frankenstein one healthy engine out of these two that got dinged up a bit. So I already stripped this one down, got all the parts out here, just to kind of have it, see kind of where I was and what kind of damage, if any, I was looking at. Thankfully, it really, like I said, it's a low mile motor. Everything came out looking pretty darn good, actually. You can see the mains here, the coated mains. Pretty cool to see. Looking pretty good. This guy right here was looking a little unhappy. That guy was looking a little angry. So I'm ready to replace one of the mains. Probably throw new rod bearings at it just because I got it apart. But everything else looked good. Everything else looked pretty solid. So I'm happy. The plan is to later this year, once I get that thing dialed in, spend some time on this one, Frankenstein a motor together and get it back together. It'll still be a stock bottom end, and then at least I can get it up and running and focus on putting whatever 2 pennies I still have remaining together to try to build a big boy motor for it, and that'll be a long ways down the line. But yeah, this guy here, this has been the one that's been taking all my time the past couple of months. Just really stripped it down to the frame and started all over again. Even painted the engine bay. I figured at some point I'm going to want to wrap it this fugly champagne color here. I might wrap the car some other color, so I figured I'd paint the engine bay black and clean it up and make it make it a little bit prettier so once you wrap it, it won't look retarded. But yeah, did that. Got a whole new front end on the car, new K-member, upper, lower arms, the whole deal. Strange brake system. Check this out. This is really cool. So the brake lines that were on this thing were really nasty, kind of rusting up and stuff. They weren't very pretty. And you know, it made me a little bit concerned about the first time I stabbed the brakes at 130. Am I just gonna punch a hole and keep going or what? So this kit here, this brake line kit, is from Finishing Lines. I literally just stumbled across it online. I don't remember how I found it, but Finishing Lines, it's a kit specifically for this car too, so it's pretty cool. Has a provision, well, you can opt for it, but it has a provision for the line lock and prop valve back there. Here's the brake for the front lines, left and right. So, well, you can't see because I wrapped it behind it here. Here's the other line coming around. They even, the lines terminate here, right? They terminate at the end here where you'd run a caliper line. And then I spoke with, I believe his name is Josh over there at Finishing Lines, and he was cool enough to make me a line to match both the AN fitting to whatever the hell crazy flare side this thing is here. So yeah, it's a really cool kit. For the whole thing, it's pretty inexpensive. I think it's like $500, but it's for the whole deal. Full line, runs all the way to the back, of course. Kind of go up in here, and yeah, you see where it comes up here. Splits off for the two rear sides, right into my lines, right into the calipers. So yeah, it's a good kit. I like it for the expense. I mean, I was dreading the idea of making lines. I've made lines before, and it's not hard, but man, it's not fun. It's not fun working with the flares, trying to get the flare just right, and then bending the lines. God, that's a nightmare. But yeah, this kit, if you get an opportunity, or if you're in a position like this, your F body and the lines are even kind of sort of questionable, do it. It's worth it. Do it. Got my new cooler mounted up there. We're going big boy on fuel system on this thing too. So got the fuel lab pump here fed in to 12 in, 10 out. It's gonna be 10 all the way that way to the back of the rails. You see the fuel lab pump right there. It's a 3-wire pump, so it's got speed control. Utilize that through the I don't know about through the Holly. I'm thinking this car might go on Haltech. I really am intrigued by the Haltech, the Nexus systems, the R3. I've been really intrigued by Haltech for a while for a variety of reasons, but the Nexus really kind of gets my attention. I'm thinking I might look for a reason to put this thing on Haltech. But anyways, that'll definitely be able to use the 3-wire control, so the pump's not going bonanza all the time. You can't see it here, but there's also a fuel cell now. You'll notice, of course, no tank. There's a fuel cell in there now. It's actually a pretty cool deal. Fuel, water, and battery tray. I know a couple companies make them. This is a one-off. Mike over there at Southern Chassis Works made it for me. He's my boo. Yeah, man, I am pumped to get this thing going again. Whole new wiring system. All new harness. I mean, a whole new body harness. Can't really see it now because it's kind of in the air, but you can see a little bit of the wires running across. Made a whole new harness for this thing. It's got a ARC panel in there now. You can see it over there. Yeah, the ARC 8000. I think it's 8-switch. There it is up there. 8-switch panel with an auxiliary relay panel as well, wired in. Matter of fact, I'll go on that side and show you guys. It's pretty cool. I'm excited because I got to do a bunch of wiring, and it's a love-hate relationship I have with wiring, but it's actually really satisfying when you get it all right. And there it is. Hell yeah, we're digital, baby. So yeah, that's that, man. This thing's gonna be it's come along. The harness is finally laid in the car. The actual Holley harness hasn't been in this car in over 3 years, so we're getting there. I've got a little bit more to go. Finish the fuel lines. I put that engine in it, like I mentioned. It's kind of a mock-up. But with it in place, I can go ahead and finish running fuel lines, finish plumbing I ordered the TIC. It's gonna have the intercooler, the high ram, well, low ram in this case, low ram intercooler with a low ram lid. Looks like a high ram lid. That deal from TIC, and it should be here about another week, I can go ahead and plumb the fuel lines, plumb the intercooler lines, the water lines, have everything plumbed and ready. The engine's actually sitting right over here. It's gonna be this guy. It's a Gen 4 5.3. You know, origin unknown. It's one of those. I already took it apart. Tested the, I have another video on this one. Tested the ultrasonic cleaner. These things came out. I don't know if the video really even does it justice, but these things, I mean, that's not perfect, obviously, you can see that, but they came out really good, given what they were, given the condition that these things were when they came out of the engine, which is real sludgy. They came out freaking great. Zero effort. A couple of Cascade pods, degreaser pods, and yeah, they came out solid. So got it apart. I've already got all my stuff, all the, it's a freaking mess over here. All the bearings and just bolts, hardware, you name it, it's all here. It's a mess. But little by little, we're putting this thing back together. I also got the rock solid, their cool door hinge removal setup. Saves a bunch of weight and makes it where you can actually, I think it's like 15 degrees, you open the door and you can lift the doors off the hinges. Really cool for for trailers. This car is going to have a Lexan, you know, a fixed side window fixed to the door, so not going to be able to crawl in and out like we do with a Corvette or anything like that. So with the new hinges, we'll actually be able to lift the doors right up and off, and then, you know, pull the car in and do all that cool stuff. There are the doors, in fact. I've got to gut them still, get the regulators out, windows out, you name it. So got a whole bunch of stuff still to do on the car. It's going to be a little while. It's mid-March right now. My goal is to have this thing down on the ground, running under its own power by about May. If I can do that by May, I'll be pretty happy. Still need to get a trans for it as well. I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and do a glide on it. It's going to be pretty light. Not super light, but it's going to be pretty light. Enough to where I think a glide will be effective and make it simple. That's the last big purchase I need to make on this thing. I've got everything else. Just need to get the glide, drive shaft, and yeah, just get my ass in gear and finish everything up. So that's it, man. That's what's been going on. That is the long-winded update on this poor son of a bitch right here. It will be back. It's just a matter of when. And honestly, when it does come back, it's going to be, you know, like I said, it's still going to be a stock bottom end car. It's not going to be anything crazy wild. I do have a different idea of what heads I'm going to be using. It's going to be a little bit different than I had before. But it's going to be it's going to be hydraulic rollers. Not going to be solid. Nothing that crazy. But it's going to be you know, stout. It's going to be healthy. It's going to be healthy. It's going to make a little bit more than it did before. So. Which means it won't be as slow as it was before. Still be slow though. Still be plenty slow. So that's it. That's all she wrote. That's where we are. For the three of you watching, hi Mom, and yeah, I'll see you later.